In the far reaches of the galaxy, on a planet known as Zardval, a small, nondescript ship in orbit has caught the attention of multiple galactic factions. This ship, however, is not just any relic, it is an ancient war vessel from a long-forgotten era, said to contain secrets of unimaginable power. For centuries, alien scientists and engineers have tried to study and repair the ship. But there was one problem: the vessel's technology was simply too advanced, its systems too complicated for any alien species to comprehend. That is, until one day, a human mechanic, unassuming yet determined, steps onto the scene. His name? Ethan Briggs. A mechanic from Earth, who would be called upon to solve the impossible, where galactic minds had failed. It all began when the United Galactic Federation, UGF, a coalition of the universe's most technologically advanced species, discovered the ship in deep space. They were certain the vessel contained technologies beyond their understanding, possibly the key to galactic dominance. But despite the combined genius of their brightest minds, all efforts to restore the ship had been in vain. The ship's systems were utterly alien, its components built in ways that defied the laws of physics as understood by the galaxy's best minds. The UGF was about to give up on the vessel when an unexpected communication arrived. Ethan Briggs, a mechanic from Earth, was known in certain circles for his unorthodox approach to problem solving. He had no formal degrees in engineering or physics, but his mechanical intuition was unparalleled. The UGF had heard rumors about the mechanic's work, and in desperation, they reached out to him. Ethan wasn't a hero. He wasn't an elite soldier, or a scientist with a vast mind for complex theories. He was just a mechanic, a man who had spent his life fixing machines, tuning engines, and solving problems that others couldn't. The UGF, desperate for a solution, brought him to Zardval and introduced him to the ship, which lay dormant on a floating space station. The vessel was enormous, its dark, metal hull bore strange, organic-looking markings, as though the ship had been grown rather than built. Its systems were powered by an unknown form of energy, one that alien scientists had yet to replicate or even fully understand. Ethan stood in awe, admiring the sleek lines of the ship, but he wasn't intimidated. He immediately began to take notes, inspecting the systems with an intuitive eye. The alien scientists watched, their skepticism barely concealed. What could a simple mechanic do that they couldn't? Days passed, and Ethan made little headway. Every component he examined was more complex than the last. The alien scientists offered their assistance, but Ethan remained stubborn. He wasn't used to working in a laboratory filled with highly educated beings. To him, the ship was just another puzzle, one that needed to be solved with grit and determination. He took apart the ship's engines, trying to understand the energy flow. Yet, every time he made an adjustment, the system would reset itself, the parts reconfiguring in ways that made no sense. Frustration mounted as the alien scientists shook their heads, muttering in disbelief. "This is impossible," one of them said. "The technology here doesn't follow any laws of logic." But Ethan didn't give up. He spent sleepless nights in the ship's engineering bay, disassembling the ship's systems and putting them back together again, each time with a slightly different approach. One night, when the station was quiet, Ethan made a breakthrough. He had been working on a small part of the propulsion system, a component that, at first glance, appeared to be a self-contained unit that should have been impossible to fix. The alien scientists had already labeled it irreparable, yet Ethan had a hunch. It wasn't broken, it was simply being misunderstood. He adjusted the frequency of the system's energy pulse, rewired a few connections, and activated the sequence. To his astonishment, the component hummed to life, lights blinking as energy coursed through the system. Ethan smiled. It worked. He quickly sent a message to the UGF scientists: "It's alive." The alien scientists arrived in a hurry, their minds boggled by Ethan's success. They couldn't believe it. How had this human, with no formal education or advanced knowledge of alien technology, managed to solve a problem that had stumped them for decades. Ethan, humble as ever, simply shrugged. Sometimes you just need to look at things from a different angle. Ethan's approach wasn't based on advanced theories or physics. It was based on his understanding of how machines worked, regardless of their origins. He didn't get bogged down by rules or conventions. He just fixed what was broken. Soon after, the UGF's engineers and the alien scientists worked alongside Ethan, adapting his insights to repair more parts of the ship. Weeks went by, and Ethan found himself tackling even more daunting challenges. The ship's energy core was a work of genius, yet its operation was entirely different from anything the galaxy had ever seen. The UGF's top scientists were convinced the energy core couldn't be started without catastrophic failure, but Ethan believed otherwise. It was all about controlling the energy flow in a way that made sense to him, not them. One fateful day, the moment of truth arrived. The energy core had to be activated. A mistake would destroy everything. Ethan had no doubts, though. He had come to know the ship inside and out, and he was ready to take the risk. With a deep breath, he initiated the core's activation sequence. The ship's entire structure shuddered, lights flickered, and then, to everyone's astonishment, the core began to hum with power. The ship was alive. Ethan had done what the greatest minds in the galaxy thought was impossible. As the days passed, the ship began to power up fully. Its systems, once dormant, hummed with energy. The UGF now had access to an ancient weapon of unimaginable power thanks to a mechanic from Earth. Ethan's success spread throughout the galaxy. The alien species who had doubted him now saw him as a symbol of human ingenuity. His reputation spread far and wide, not just as a mechanic, but as a problem solver who had turned the impossible into reality. The UGF, recognizing his brilliance, offered him a prestigious position. But Ethan, ever humble, declined. He was just a mechanic, after all. And for him, the real reward was knowing that, sometimes, a fresh perspective could change the course of history. And so, a mechanic from Earth had done what alien scientists from across the galaxy could not: he had fixed the impossible. In a universe full of advanced technologies, it was a human's simple understanding of machines that made all the difference. Sometimes, the greatest power isn't in science or knowledge, it's in the hands of someone willing to take a chance and see things for what they truly are. Human ingenuity, as it turned out, was the galaxy's greatest gift.